Okay, okay. Okay, welcome to the SIG Network meeting for what day is today? March 28th. And please, what do we have this code of conduct? Just stick to the code of conduct and behave. And this is the first SIG Network meeting after QCOM. A lot of people tired still. So doesn't seem to be a lot of agenda. Let's start with the issue triage, and then we can go to the topic from Kevin that says 10 minutes. I think that we'll have time for that. Okay, so let me open the screen. Who added the links to the agenda of the issues? We don't know. Okay, let me open this. Share the screen. Chrome. DNS. Okay, first one. Okay, from 2007. DNS PTR is sort of broken for pods. Whatever it is, this. Am I sharing, right?
Yeah, this looks ancient.
Uh,
Uh,
so Bowie
I'm
is
guessing Shane
commenting.
must have added. Yeah, it looks like Shane is the one who added all these because he must have gone through and found all the old things that hadn't. But like this is era of 1.6, I think. Um,
Oh, and
Sorry,
says,
what is broken?
I don't know. You happen to be assigned to this DNS pointer record are sort of broken for pods. I don't know what broken means.
Sorry, there's a link up at the top. Can we just? What is this?
Uh, okay.
the linked issue got closed out by Stalebot.
Oh,
Um,
I see. Manual endpoints. This requires a spec change. I think that's why it never happened because it wasn't like a fix.
So what's the answer here? We're not
I
going to
think
do it.
unless someone wants to write a cap,
What
we.
is the problem? You summarize?
It looks like if you have custom endpoints, there's no restriction on what kind of endpoints you put into the custom endpoints, which means you could put like let's say 11111 and then another one has 11111 and then now you have basically a clash.
Okay. That doesn't seem to be a big of an issue for people, right?
yeah, I mean this seems like it's lasted for so long because it's no one cares enough, and it's fine for it not to be fixed in my opinion. Like if we could let Stalebot close it out, or just close it out with the idea that realistically no one's going to get to it, that's probably the most accurate.
It seems alone imitation alone issue. Um,
Probably
session.
the behavior almost is like a feature now instead of a bug at this point is sort of my evaluation of it.
Yeah.
Will it
Can
be so? Is it ECMP that will? No, it's not ECMP either, right? It's just pure race with the ARP that will decide where the
no,
packet will.
but if it's PTR records, you need to request them explicit in the application, right? You are using glibc or any resolver, it's not going to resolve based on the PTR record.
Because if they're on the same if they're on the same network, the two addresses, we will get horrible neighbor discovery results.
Well, I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
Even Or do you want to investigate Per?
I will look on this one.
Okay. Where is your nick?
So the issue is that you can create a custom endpoints object, which does not necessarily mean the thing actually exists. It's like completely fabricated. And then from the DNS system's perspective, it will use those endpoints to cause collisions. The collision is completely in DNS.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if there is but if these things actually exist, you could
They
also
don't. They don't have a requirement to exist. You can kind of
okay.
put arbitrary stuff in
I'll
there.
look into it. So you're saying basically you're getting A records that are confusing.
Yes. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
PTR records. The A records, I think, are fine.
Yeah, it's a backwards lookup, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
The A record would just be one. It will have two. Yeah, so the pointer records will get.
So I think the true fix is something needs to watch IP to pod and maintain that. And I think one of the issues was that validation is pretty expensive from a scalability perspective.
But then it's a problem in the DNS implementation.
Yeah, so if the DNS, so I'm reading this now, I remember that we couldn't have kubedns just watch all the pods because that just would kill the server. So this one is sort of blocked on like an optimization that makes that possible.
And yeah, well, exactly. And all pods are not in DNS to start with anyway, but I mean they could be.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
So I would probably add that. I'll follow the backtrack if I can find this.
Per, I don't know your handle, so I cannot assign you.
QABPA.
2A?
QA. No,
QA.
like I'll write in the chat.
Okay, get there. You have in the meeting agenda notes. Okay, next one. Allow setting. Okay, share this tab. Allow setting of hostname also when pod spec host network is true. I think that this was allowed.
Does this work though?
I think that this works.
Is there a test?
If there is not a test, it should be a test. Okay. Correct. Well, reopen.
You reopened it.
Yeah, but in 2022. And I keep talking.
Past you reopened it.
I don't know. I don't know what Tim says here. This is not fixed. I mean, we should have a test at least. Help. We should have a test that creates a pod with host network. That will work through. This is a good opportunity for people that want to contribute and set the host name and assert on whatever the behavior is today. And then the people that put the test is going to define the conformance of these things. Next, the third one. Service objects should be annotated by cloud providers to track underlying resources. This I'm going to assign to Bob. We did it. I already assigned.
So I think like this is super challenging because like maybe the underlying resource can't even be tracked in like a reasonable portable way.
I remember to read this. The problem is that each cloud provider should be using different things, right? So I don't see.
I mean, isn't this like an issue per cloud provider? I mean, I guess we could define a pattern, but clearly no one has for a long time. And
Already with load balancer services, our cloud provider has like 200 annotations. How do you do with this in Gateway? Because you have two models and kind of distinct, right?
yeah,
We have like I don't think this is like a requirement because it's so implementation specific. So like
there
there's a
is
couple of issues, right? Like,
yeah, there's
can the
a
resource even
new
be referenced? Like, is there a URL? You know, those kind of things.
there's a new experimental infrastructure field in spec and status that allows in spec specific yeah, maybe just
Yeah,
mention
let me
the
assign to you, Robert.
oh god.
And you just
Okay.
play.
Yeah, I can at least explain what Gateway's doing. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go any further with that, but
Sorry for putting you in the spot, but we're going to. Okay, other one. Share this stuff. Oh, conformance coverage for networking. Okay. I think that I commented. The thing is, we didn't promote a lot of conformance recently. This is an umbrella issue. Okay, I added this as help. So basically, theoretically, when we do GA of a feature, that's supposed to be wide adopted for everybody. We should promote to conformance. I think that we did terminating endpoint recently, and what other, the internal traffic policy local. So those should be promoted to conformance. If somebody want to do the exercise, this is very simple. You're just going to the test and switch the label, and then it will mean that across the ecosystem, everybody has to implement these features to be CNCF conformance. The last one in the list is.
Wait, Antonio, are there tests that we know we need to promote? Are there?
That's why the exercise is going through this list. Okay, let me open. Are you sending this? And then you filter the ones that are not conformance and exclude the filter conformance. And then, for example, contract are not conformance. It's very specific for how QDNS work. But this DNS should be conformance, for example. This DNS config map not. Okay, well, this endpoint
I see.
slice should be
Is
conformance.
this just like a label change that needs to happen? Like, how is
Yeah,
this?
okay, this has to be conformance. It means the feature has to be GA, and you need to demonstrate that the test is not
Stable?
flaky. Yes, exactly.
It seems
So you
like
go.
it's very green, all of these.
This is my morning email. If something goes red here, I start to chase people. And there is a CI signal team that validates all these test grids. So, but they are in another place. So if something happens in any conformance or important test, they ping us. But you see here, we have a lot of them, right? But the thing, we need to be careful because, for example, with the affinity thing, the test conformance was specific for Qproxy and it didn't work in IPVS and they did proc, I remember OBN or whatever thing, and it was demoted from conformance. So the ones that we know, for example, is we have internal traffic policy local, right? That's something that the services expect. So all the users must be able to use this feature in all the Kubernetes clusters. So that qualifies for conformance.
I guess my question is like, Is this something that anyone can pick up and start flipping them?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, build the rationale behind this, right? But yes, if nobody's doing it, because we are being lazy. The last one, the last person promoted then was me, but so this, for example, granular checks. Okay, this is HTTP. Yes, this is something that anybody can pick.
Okay.
And it's a good opportunity because it's very simple.
Yeah. I was going to say, if it's that simple.
It's just going to the test and change one label and create the PR, do a bit of exercise of checking the test grids, and that's it. Okay. Oh, this is the this is the discussion we have with cluster siders and service siders. Dan is commenting, we remove cluster sider because of this, and we have service sider in alpha. So to cluster siders, I mean, this was discussed. Let me assign this to me. We have this discussion there are two documents I created, and this was heavily discussed, and this ended with cluster sider being removed from the in3 and completely removed. It was alpha, and service sider covering, because we realized that we cannot be authoritative about cluster sider, and the API was giving a false information to the users, and it didn't help. So I'm going to assign to me to comment on this. Well, I think that, I don't know if there are more issues. I think for today is enough. We can do another round this week. So I'm going to go to the agenda. So Kevin.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Lars.
I added an issue in the chat because we have only treated the really old one that Shane added, but there are new ones, especially the one I posted in the chat. I would like to have a consensus that we can close.
Let me open it and share so people can see this one, Lars, the street art thing.
Yeah, it's about setting the CTLs, and
this is always polemic.
Yeah. And the strict ARP is basically only needed for Metal LB when you have IPVS proxier. That's the only case I know of. And the proposal is to force it to 0 if this is not set. And I want to close this if it's okay with everybody.
But
with a motivation that we cannot, if a user want this sysctl to something else than 0, then we can't by default force it to 0.
Well, he wants to reconcile on this sysctl thing. What is the feature request?
Yeah, the strict ARP setting enforces this. If you scroll down, I have pasted the.
No, my question is, we have this option, right? And he wants that if something changes this option afterward, QProxy to go there, detect this, and keep fighting to set this option to the.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but we
in
cannot.
My opinion,
Language is here, right? We don't reconcile. I mean, we set once it starts, and then if people modify things, is their problem, right?
Yeah, but if you specify a value in the etc directory for sysctls, I can't remember the name of the file, because you want it to be something different than 0 because of security or whatever, then kubeproxy should definitely not enforce it to 0 because this strict ARP is not set.
I need to read this. This logic not make sense. Okay. But why they need to do this? For Metal LB?
Yeah, if you have Metal LB, you should set this. And in my opinion, it should never have been there. It should be a documentation thing in Metal LB that if you're using Metal LB and have the kube proxy IPVS, then you must set this ARP ignore sysctl to something else than 0 yourself, not have a kube proxy option that we enforces is to 1, even if the user wanted it to something else like 2 or something. So the function is flawed, in my opinion, from the beginning. And the issue proposed that it should be even more flawed or dig ourselves deeper in something that shouldn't be there. So I would like to close it.
Do you mind if I can take a look to understand better the code? Because I mean, if you say close it, I'm 99% sure that this is the right thing. But I'm going to assign this to you and CCB. I don't know if anybody else want to chime in. It's just because I think that you have a lot of context, but I really, I don't know,
Yeah,
did you say that?
that is what I basically wanted. Thanks.
No, thanks to you. Any other issue that we have, we want to triage, or is 25 minutes, so let's move. We can do this week. Okay, so Kevin, you have the next item, the kubelet kubeproxy certs. That's let me open this. Share the screen. That's this one. Is Kevin here? Kevin,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
it's a bit low.
Hold on. How about now?
Much better.
Okay.
At least for me.
Good. Yeah, that's the issue.
Oh, the rotation. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I'd like to be able to update the certificates on kubelet and kubeproxy and some of the other stuff live, because I've what I would like to do is use Spire to automatically generate certificates that are valid, that are short-lived, and attested through various means like hardware TPMs or something to really ensure the integrity of the nodes. But at the moment, you can't update the certificates in those services without restarting them. And last I heard, it's really not recommended to restart a kubelet, say, while there's production workload still on that node.
But kubelet already has some mechanism to restore certificates periodically.
Only if you're using Kubernetes itself to issue the certificates. But Kubernetes itself has no real attestation mechanism in it.
So I think that what I asked there, what it could be useful for, I mean, is to define exactly how do you mean to use it, because
I
last
want to
time that
specify certs, and then if they update on disk, for it to honor the new certs.
yeah, but these are I'm asking because I don't remember the logic.
Mhm.
Are these already flags in the, because the last time that we tried something like this, FS the people use config map, right, to mount volumes and these kind of things. And last time that we tried to do something in kubeproxy like this, the notify was not able to detect these changes. So
Mhm.
if you
Well,
can be more specific on the flags and the behavior to say, okay, I want to set up this flag to this folder or to this file, and when something changes, just check if that
okay.
whatever restarts, because I
So
I at least not have
right.
clear.
So I think for this use case, like for kube proxy, there would be a host path mount to somewhere on the host where the certificates would be per host.
And that's my other question: is these certificates are part of the queue config or is a separate? Right, because kubeproxy reads the kubeconfig file, right, and gets
Mhm.
the certificates from there, right? So that's the kind of things that I think that why this is not moving is because it's not. I mean, it's a complex thing to understand.
Kevin, you also made an assertion early on that is not exactly true. Restarting kubelet was a working workload is perfectly fine. There is no interdependency between a running workload and kubelet. Right, the status updates, and you might get the latent status update, but it's perfectly fine. The system is designed as a desired state configuration, so it is designed for kubelet to restart, right? And following the point that you made also, if I replace the certificate, I'm essentially I will have to tear down all the connections that I established to everywhere, the API server and so on, which is essentially restart. As yes, it's less effort than restarting the entire process, but as one can make an argument that it's equal because all connections will be resetted.
There's an assumption there. I don't necessarily care if already established and trusted connections are reissued. I just want to make sure that new connections use the new certificate to establish new connections so that it doesn't try to use a key or cert that's no longer valid.
Perfect. That's true. Now, what's the MTTR expectations? So let's say, okay, I don't want to restart kubelet. Let's assume we restart the kubelet. What's the maximum time you can wait before kubelet start pushing the new updates?
I think it has to do with the longevity of the certificates. Like out of the box, Spire certificates are valid for an hour. So I don't think we necessarily want to be and they roll at like half their validity time.
Oh, so you want to have a system where you reset the certificates every hour.
Yeah, like certificates
Okay.
are very commonly reissued, and I would like the system to just work with them.
But Kevin, this is for client Go.
Both the client and the server, ideally.
No, I mean client Go. So that's what I'm saying is what connection of the queue. Let's focus on the queue proxy. That's the thing that SIG Network owns, and the kubelet is more complicated. The client Go the queue proxy has a queue config file, right, and build a client Go, and this client Go has this queue config has some certificates or whatever thing that the client Go uses, right, and this is what establish the connection with the API server. So you want this client Go to have these certificates reloading, right? Okay, this is something that Mo works with Carl is working on, and they are asking exactly the same that you're saying. Is when you update the certificate, I can link you to the PR. Let me. You are in Slack, I can contact you in Slack later. They are working because if you are referring to the client Go certificates connections, they are working on that.
Yeah. So I mean that's one of the cases. The other case is like for monitoring, like with Prometheus or something, you might want to secure that connection too. I don't know. I haven't used the kube proxy side of things as much as like the kubelet side, but there's a long-standing issue in kubeadm where all of the kubelet monitoring stuff is done with a self-signed certificate. And I'd like to just use Spire for that as well. And then I can, on the other side, trust the Spire CA as the issuer of those things.
You definitely need to go to SIG auth
SIG auth, okay.
yeah, there is more, and so all these stuff with certificates. I mean, it's spread across.
Yeah, that's the
Everybody-
problem. There's not really
Yeah.
one SIG that
Yeah.
can solve this problem, but and I've been not working on it for a while because I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, I would go to SIG auth because it's Jordan and Mo, and they deal with this, right? In cloud provider, you have this thing to renew certificates. Also has this plugin that do this authentication first to issue and all this stuff, and they are in my opinion, the best equipped to guide you.
They are. And to be honest, if you covered the Go client, there is a good chance that you covered the majority of the system.
Right, that's what I thought, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Mo is a
like,
great guy
so-
to talk to.
So like for
Talk to Mo.
kubelet,
Go ahead.
so like for kubelet, it's just using the Go client and pointing at the API server and then just using whatever certificates the Go client parsed into memory and is connection pooling and stuff.
Yep.
So okay, so then then
Yeah.
fixing it in the Go
What I do
client is
remember,
probably right.
What I do remember is Go client does not take an input, like it doesn't load certificate from files. You give it like the certificate bundles, or you point to a kubeconfig file. I could be wrong, or things have changed recently. So there is no like, oh, take the certificate. It's as you bootstrap the client itself, you pass the certs, either the bundle or the bundle and some details, or a kubeconfig file, which essentially has its own certs.
So then the Go client though is kind of leaving that up as an exercise to the end users. So then it would be a kubelet issue potentially.
It might be, but this is something the Go client and the OS folks will get it right, not us.
Let me see if this is what you want.
Trust anchors during CA rotation. Not quite, because it's the actual certificates, not the CA, but it's similar.
It's
similar.
This is the problem, the hard problem to solve, because it's the root, right? The other is safer, and this is the people that you need to talk with.
Yeah. And by the way, like Go client references are passed everywhere. There is only usually very few instances of it, if not one.
You see, there is a cell rotation here.
Yeah.
So definitely Mo and Jordan and they can. They also have a work in progress. Yeah, with SIG auth, and they are the best equipped for this. But now that you say something, Carl, about the kubelet restarting, I think that there are some side effects that when the kubelet restarts, all the props default to. I mean, they need to start rechecking.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
true. Yes, true. But the system was never designed for 100% kubelet uptime.
Okay, right. Okay, so you can wipe out the kubelet, the workloads keep working until it restarts and catches with the current state. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
There are actually situations where, but don't do that in production without knowing exactly what you're doing. You can actually drop in a replacement for kubelet version as is.
Okay. Well, don't
do it. I'm not. I don't know, just because this is recorded and people will go say Cal said.
Right.
No. If you don't know how to do it, please don't. All right. But there are ways you can slap a new kubelet in place. Yeah.
Right. I could buy that. And I think there's like timeouts and stuff for like the CSI drivers reestablishing connections back to the kubelet and stuff. I do worry that if it's done this frequently, it's going to run into much more issues than if it's done rarely.
I think the outcome of this discussion is Mo, SIG auth generally, Mo, talk to Mo, all right, and try to align to their dynamic upload or dynamic reload stuff. And
Hmm.
if you can manage to keep it inside Go client, then the benefit of what you're trying to do will spread across the entire system without anybody changing anything.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Can you post that issue that you had up a minute ago? That covers the client side. That still leaves like the server side for certificates. Is that done with the common shared library too, or is that really
Yes,
just
the server side uses command line arguments or config to load the certificate, but it uses a different stack than the Go client.
and that is that done as a shared library where we can get it to also watch for changes in the files, or is that code all specific to each server?
SIG-OS.
The thing
SIG
that
off again.
the thing is, I think that you can build some kind of dynamic thing with APIs, but the client, the kubeconfig also allows to define plugins to do this reloading and all this stuff. So that's why I think that if you go with what are you trying to achieve, right, instead with the solution that you're finding, and they will be able to guide you better, right? I want to
Okay.
achieve this in this way, and I was finding this because they know all these ins and outs of certificates and all the stuff.
Okay, I will go there next. I appreciate the
Yeah,
help.
yeah, people here usually use this and we use this, and we don't say anything like unless there's a problem. But usually everybody uses Go client.
Okay.
Good luck, because
Yeah.
it's not going to be easy. So
No, it's just a lot of the stuff I pick up never is. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, there is no more agenda. Anybody wants to talk about something? Otherwise, we have more than 15 minutes. Okay, then I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye. Let me click. How do I stop recording?